Hello artists, Mrs. Castle here, and the purpose of this video is we're going to make value scales and gradations by blending colored pencils. For this you need to know the complements, and we want red. Okay, need kind of a rough little color wheel here. Red. Or you don't have to do this, you can just watch this part. Orange and yellow, green, blue, and violet. Okay, now see those white marks there? That's because my pencil is kind of dull and the wood kind of scraped the paper, and that makes dents in the paper that are very hard to fill, so you kind of need to be careful and make sure your pencils are sharpened. Don't let them wear down. And if you are not pressing super hard when you're working with your colored pencils, if you're pressing gently, you shouldn't have a problem with getting down to the wood. The pencil lasts a lot longer that way. The pencil point lasts a lot longer, and you don't have to sharpen nearly as often. If you're pressing super hard, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot and making it very difficult to layer up your colors, which is what colored pencils are kind of designed to do. So don't overlook that. So anyway, we're going to use complements to create darker versions of colors. So complementary pairs, red and green. Red and green. Blue and orange. These are opposites on the color wheel, because we're going to go right through the center to the other side. And yellow and violet or purple, whichever one you want to say, but not violet purple. That's saying purple purple or violet violet. It's kind of repeating yourself. Anyway, you're going to choose one pair to work with at a time. So I'll just pick the top. We'll do red and green first. Start by putting my name on my paper, because remember, we own our work. Put your period. I'm more likely to take off points for not having your name on there than your period, but both help. I'm going to start with red on one end. Actually, I'm going to use red for all of these. Oops. Okay, one end is going to be dark. We're going to say this is the dark end and this is the light end. So let's start at the light end. We want to make the lightest solid value that we can with the colored pencil. All right, then I'm going to make a medium value. Okay, that's just a little, barely darker than the light value, so I'm going to put another layer. Now I'm going to work on my darker value. So I am pressing a little bit harder, but it's nowhere near as hard as some of my students press to get a dark value. So remember, I made all three of these values with one colored pencil. And don't forget, sometimes it's helpful to go the other direction. To help layer up the color. So at least 3 layers of colored pencil for that, maybe 4. Okay, so to make my red darker, I could add black, but I'm going to add green. I'm going to put, okay. I'm going to put a very light layer of green on. And I want to color just as well with the second color as I did with the first color. I don't want to see on top of the first, with the second color on top of the first color. I see that coming a mile away, and you will lose points for that because you just aren't putting the effort in. That little scribble thing is not trying, not doing the work. Now I'm going to put a layer of green on this one, and I'm going to add more to this one. More green to make it darker. And it should start to turn kind of a brownish gray color, especially on the video. Okay, now I'm going to kind of use my red again to blend, to kind of incorporate it all together. Actually, I think I'm going to make this color a little bit darker. I'm going to put another layer on, but I'm trying to make it even. Okay, there. That's even better. Okay, as you can see, it still has red quality to it, but it's kind of duller than a regular red. And that's, oops, sorry, that's part of what complements do for us, is kind of dull down the color, but it still has life to it. If you add black, that's okay, but it's not the greatest. All right, so I'm going to do orange and blue next. There's a blue. Okay, for this one, I only want you to do the 3 color and the 4 color. I'm not going to make you do the 5 color. If you do the 5 color, that will be extra credit, okay? And my advice is not to do purple with this. Yellow and purple will work better with paint, but the colored pencil is going to be really hard. Okay, so this end I'm going to make my light end, and this will be my dark end. So I'm going to make blue is a little bit darker, so I'm going to try to make my lightest, very lightest value that I can. And if you, oops, so if you listen, you can hear I'm barely touching. The pencil sounds different when you're making a light color. Okay, this one's going to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to make my value scale with my first color first. Or with my, yeah, duh. And I'm still pressing lightly. Okay, so I've got a nice jump, noticeable jump between those two. Now I'm gonna, if you listen this time, I'm pressing harder so the sound changes. It's a little bit louder. And I'm going to do another layer. The same pressure. Looks like I'm going to need a third layer. If you choose colored pencil for your unit project, then I'm going to expect to see some blending. And actually, as we go along in the videos, we're going to see applying these skills in different ways. Okay, so I've got a good four-step value scale. And it's not as dark as my blue pencil will go on this end, but we'll get there. So I'm gonna do a light layer. Oh. Okay, so light layer of orange, very light. Because we only want to darken the blue a little bit. And I know this orange is a lighter color than blue, but it still will darken it or like dull it down. Thin layers, light layers. So remember, when you press gently, your pencil lasts longer. If you press super hard, the colors are not going to layer well, and you're going to have to sharpen your pencil, and your hand's going to hurt at the end. I'm going to go back with my blue. Kind of make a sandwich, because we want this to still look blue, but we want it to be duller and kind of darker. Okay, see a couple of places, like right here, there's not much orange. Right there. Just fill that in a little bit. And I'm going to add a little more blue on here because we want it to still look blue, but lighter than that color. And a light layer on here, lighter than that color, but still more blue than orange. You could do it the other way and make it more orange than blue. In that case, you're going to have to be really careful with the blue, because it's going to cover up, it's going to obliterate the orange if you're not careful. Okay, all right. So there we go. We've got a value scale using the complement and gradations with the complements. Okay. So there you go. If you need help, please, please, please ask me. Lighter pressure works the very best, and you won't have to go sharpen your pencil all the time. All right. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye.